Hey YouTube, and I welcome you in this last part of the patellar tendinitis guide, where I try and help you navigate through how to heal of this fairly debilitating injury. So in this part, we're going to cover what constitutes for me the most important aspect of healing from the tendinitis, and that's going to be recovery and supplements. I'm personally not someone who's big on supplements when it comes to building muscle. That being said, for joint integrity and for the more recovery aspects of your training, they have much more of an impact in my opinion. Of course, technique, form, all of that is also very key. We're going to talk about the little things that you should be doing in your everyday life now so that you make sure that the training you do in the gym actually helps heal the tendinitis faster. And I say this is going to be more critical because you're going to end up doing the things I'm going to discuss with you much more often that you're going to do the training. Because tendinitis is something that can get re-aggravated, um, we discussed in part two the frequency of the training. The frequency shouldn't be too high, it shouldn't be too strenuous, it should just be a stimulation and a technique reuphold where you learn how to squat again, how to use the muscles again, and you just tickle the tendon enough that it gets fed some blood and it can get some time to recover afterwards. So as far as recovery goes, the number one thing we're going to talk about here is icing. And that's something you're going to do a lot. And I personally believe this is the key to healing tendinitis. As I said in previous parts, I don't like drugs, I don't like painkillers or anti-inflammatories. I think that packs of ice are going to be your best friend. Now, I'm talking about packs of ice. Do not put straight up ice on your skin. You're going to damage your skin and potentially make it rot. You don't want to do that. You also don't want to just wrap ice into plastic because it's wasteful and it's also going to be very messy. Buy packs of ice. There are packs with gel inside that you can reutilize ad infinitum, and you just have to put them in your freezer and they become ice again. I strongly advise that. Also because I believe that they they uh, they freeze the area more uniformly than actual ice cubes. When you buy them, don't be a baby. Don't buy the ones that have the super thick plastic covers. You want the ice to touch your skin. As long as it's not straight up ice touching your skin, it's not going to actually damage it. So go with something that is going to actually be cold. It is going to be cold, it is going to feel uncomfortable. That is the point. The reason we want to ice is the icing is going to reduce the inflammation and it's going to also encourage blood flow afterwards because your body is going to freak out and is going to send a ton of blood in the area afterwards. We are going to, right off the bat, discuss the things you should not be doing. Do not ice your knee for more than 20 minutes. 20 minutes is already up there. Start with like 5 minutes, then do 10 minutes. 15 minutes is the maximum. I mean that once the pack touches your knee, you can let it sit there for 15 minutes, but after 15 minutes, it should leave the knee. The reason why is because we want to cool the tendon down. We don't want to freeze it. If you freeze your tendons, it will rot and it will never be the same again. There are multiple examples of NBA athletes who put packs of ice on their knees, fell asleep, woke up 2 hours later with their knee completely frozen, and they lost completely the ability to be explosive because they damaged their knee. But doing it for 10 or 15 minutes is not enough to create some long-lasting structural damage, so you will be fine. The second thing you don't do when you ice your knees, and I see so many people do, icing your knees is a practice that is reserved for after the training. You never ice your knee in the middle of training. Never. You also never ice your knee right before going back up and doing something. After the knee is iced and you've removed the pack, you need to give the knee just as much time without the pack than it was with the pack. So if you put the pack 20 minutes, you should wait 20 minutes. The reason why is because everything is frozen now. All right? If you just jump back up and start moving, everything that was resting and that was in a state of non-activity is now put under immense stress, and you can hurt yourself. Even if you don't feel it, and that's the vicious part about it, most likely you won't even feel it. But your knee is now numb, so you're doing damage and you don't even feel it. Just sit and let it rest, let it warm up. This is the second part of the icing. Now that the inflammation is reduced, your body is going to send a lot of blood in the area because it wants the area to be warm again. And that blood is going to carry rich nutrients, is going to carry oxygen, that is going to help the tendon heal. It is, patellar tendinitis is an ailment that responds very well to icing. Why? Because the tendon is exposed. Because the tendon is in the kneecap, you can access it very easily with the cord. There are certain tendons, like for example ACLs or MCLs, stuff like this, that are too deep within the knee, and icing doesn't do much, but you're lucky because the patellar tendon is exposed. So it's easy to force it to face the cord in a sense. So icing is going to be, as I said, your best friend, and you're going to do it as much as you can. Every time you have downtime and you're just sitting doing nothing for 30 minutes, ice your knee. You can do it 5 times a day if you want to. The more you do it, the more efficient it is, as long as you follow the rules I gave you. Now, understand that the one time, and it might sound counterintuitive, but the one time you don't want to ice the knee is right after you train the legs. Once you're done doing the rehab I taught you in part 2, you want to let the knee be a little warm. I've experienced that, and I understand that you experience that as well. Once you're done training your knees and you do knee flexions with patellar tendinitis, when you're warm and pumped up, it doesn't hurt because there's blood in it, but afterwards it's going to feel itchy, it's going to feel warm to the touch, burning up, and the only thing you want is to put that ice pack on it because it feels amazing. Don't. Your knee is now in a state where it's taking the inflammation into account and it's doing something about it. Your body has its own responses against inflammation. This is why I say that anti-inflammatories are bad to cure tendinitis, because they just tell your body, hey, no more inflammation. It forces your body to stop doing that. But the inflammation is a sign that something is wrong, and your body has ways to respond to it. So let your body do its thing. I advise you give your leg between 2 to 3 hours after you've trained it before you ice it again. But I also highly encourage you to ice your knees on the night you train them. So for example, if you trained at 6 p.m., wait until it is 9 p.m. to finally ice that knee. And on the night where you work squats, I highly encourage doing 2 rounds. So the best way to do that is to buy 2 ice packs, put them in the freezer, do 1 round of icing at 9 p.m. and another round right before bed. And you're going to find, and I found, that this practice reduces inflammation, acclimates the knee to the variations of blood flow, which also means your training is going to be much more comfortable because you're going to find that your knee stops itching much faster as you warm it up. And it just is miraculous when it comes to curing that type of tendinitis completely. So that's what you want to be doing when it comes to recovery. Other things that are less impactful but just as important: when you wake up in the morning, a good thing to do is, you're going to find with tendinitis, and that's why it's such a pain to live with, because you sleep and you don't move around in your sleep and you don't use your legs, the knee becomes very stiff, and when you wake up it is really uncomfortable. So I advise, once you wake up, don't do knee flexions because that's too much pressure on the knee. Do leg extensions. So you're going to extend the leg and you're going to start with very small range of motion, right? And you're going to go and extend more and more and more and more. It's going to be painful, it doesn't feel good as you wake up, but you're going to find that it is very beneficial because it sends blood in the area right as you wake up. It's going to take care of that stiffness. That stiffness, you do not want it to become a habit. You don't want to let your knee get used to being stiff. Your tendons are elastic and they should remain so. And part of keeping them elastic is in your head. You have to teach it to them. So a second thing you're going to do is you're going to do breaks at the knee. And it's as non-eventful as you think it is, right? You're just going to get up, and you're going to break at the knee, break at the knee, and you're going to keep doing that until the pain goes away. And if you've experienced patellar tendinitis, you know that a simple break at the knee hurts a lot. But every morning, make a habit of doing that so that you start your day on the right foot with your knee full of blood. As far as sleeping goes, another advice I would give you, if you're the type of person who likes to stretch, I found that something that re-aggravates the knee a ton is stretching the leg. You know, when you try and, like cats do, where you really stretch everything. Trying to not do that. I know it feels really good. The hack I found for that is fold your legs underneath your body and stretch like this. That way you can still get that nice sensation of everything being elongated, but you're not going to put the knee in that overextended position that re-aggravates it. And for me, it's something that I found can actually have a very positive impact on the knee, because if you do it every morning, you are hurting the knee every morning before you start walking around. And a big part of healing from patellar tendinitis is also being able to walk around with no pain. And to that mean, I also would advise, if you have the ability to wear a brace, but don't buy the braces that have a hole for the kneecap, because the entire point is to keep the kneecap stable. So those braces are completely useless. And the worst part is that a lot of doctors recommend them for patellar tendinitis. I advise you buy a band of tissue and you play around with it, and you find a way to wrap it around the knee so that it offers support, and you can wear it underneath your clothes throughout the day. It's not visible, and your boss or your teachers won't be able to see it. That's personally what I used to do, and I did that for months and months, and it really helps. And another hack I will give you, and that's something that is much more psychological. Try and fight stress as much as you can, because I found that tendinitis are affected by your mindset and your stress levels. If you're really stressed out about things, you're going to find that that type of injury gets worse and worse. So try and remain calm. I know it's tough because the injury might be stressing you out too, but really try and find a way around it. A big thing with injuries is you have to have a strong mental, and you have to want to heal. You need to desire to heal, because this is going to carry over and make sure that you actually ice your knee, do the stretches in the morning and the warm-ups. But it's also something that, in my opinion, is a testimony of the power of the spirit over the mind and the body. You need to want to heal, right? Repeat that to yourself. You want that need to heal, and that way you're going to make sure that your actions carry over to that. So as far as recovery goes, that's pretty much all I have for you guys. It's not complicated, but it's something you should be doing very regularly, and you're going to find that it is actually going to be very positive and it's going to help you. Now, let's talk supplements. As I said, I'm not a big supplement guy. I take as little as I can, but I back when I had the very acute tendinitis in my left knee, I did some research and I tried some supplements. Some I liked, some I didn't, and I'm going to tell you which ones are which. So as far as ones that I like and I recommend to everyone, Msm Powder. It's a white powder, it's super cheap, it's almost as cheap as creatine, and it is the most disgusting thing you've ever tasted in your life. It is super bitter, but it works. The issue with that product is it takes a long time to get in your system, meaning you need to be taking it for a long time before it actually starts wielding any effects. I don't know if that's just a marketing scheme to get people to actually consume more of that product, like they do with creatine when they say you have to preload. I don't really care, but I have noticed it for myself. So I don't know if it was placebo or not, but the thing with Msm powder is it's disgusting. So when you have to take something that is quite repellent every day for a month before you see any effects, it's disappointing. I advise you take your Msm powder mixed with juice. It's not going to be good, but it's going to be less disgusting than with water. And it's you'll see the dosage on the box, but it's a teaspoon per day. I advise you start with less than that, just so that you don't build a bad relationship with the product, because it does taste like crap. But if you take it every day for month and month, I have found a very interesting effect on the tendons. It's anti-inflammatory, and it helps reduce pain. So give it a try. It's not a drug. It is not something that is going to have you hooked, but it's something that I still take to this day for the health of my tendons. As far as ones that I don't like, glucosamine I don't really like. It's much more expensive than Msm powder. It tastes much better, but I haven't seen much of a difference, so I don't really advise it. Another one that I really advise is turmeric. Turmeric is used in Indian cuisine and in a lot of Middle Eastern cuisine. It Some people don't like it, I personally do. I advise you eat turmeric as much as you can. Back when I had that problem, I was putting turmeric in every single dish I had, every single time. I would make drinks with sea salt and turmeric. I would consume it as much as I can. There is some discussions around turmeric. Some people say that you don't absorb the powder as much. Some people say that there are certain ways to absorb turmeric that are better. Do your research. I know that Costco sells a turmeric drink that I find very delicious. It's orange and it's much easier to get down because the issue with turmeric is that it stains everything. So keep that in mind. But I personally was a big user of turmeric and I still am. It's great for your health. So give that a try. And on the flip side, and we're going to end with that, fish oil. I tried fish oil in the past. Whether I take it or not, I don't see a difference. Some people say it helps lubricate your joints. Maybe if you try it, it will do it for you. For me, it did nothing, so I stopped taking it. So that's the supplements that I recommend and those I don't recommend for you to help cure your patellar tendinitis. But please understand that supplements are what the name entails. They're just supplements. You cannot heal yourself only by taking a pill. You need to have the action and you need to have the good habits that are going to encourage your body to get rid of that potential threatening injury that could cause more pain and damage in the future. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope the guide will help a lot of people cure their patellar tendinitis. And I wish you the best and I wish you to be free from that ailment. Have a good day.